Hi, I'm Jennifer Chow, the CEO of Chimeric Therapeutics. I'm thrilled to be with you at this year's AusBiotech meeting and truly appreciate you taking the time to let me introduce Chimeric to you today. Our disclaimers. Chimeric Therapeutics is the ASX leader in cell therapy, as we're the only clinical stage cell therapy company in Australia today. Our lead asset, CHM1101, or the Chlorotoxin CAR T, is advancing in a phase 1 clinical trial program at the City of Hope Hospital in California. We've been very excited to announce the acquisition of our second asset in July, CHM2101, which is now making rapid progress towards clinic. We're further advancing our pipeline development, and we're doing all of this with an industry-leading team of experts in cell therapy development. Chimeric was founded in 2020 and listed on the ASX under CHM in January of 2021 with a heavily oversubscribed raise of $35 million. We've had significant growth since then, with a current market cap of about $110 million, 330 million shares on issue, and board and management representing about 30% ownership. Chimeric Therapeutics is focused solely on cell therapy development and oncology. And you can see that this is the most active sector in biotech today. In the past 18 to 24 months alone, 16 of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies have added cell and gene therapy products to their portfolio. They've done this through acquisitions, like the acquisition of Kite by Gilead or the acquisition of Juno by Celgene, and more recently through partnerships, where companies like Janssen, Eli Lilly, Merck, Roche are making partnership deals with small cell therapy companies for upfront payments and milestones that can reach $2 and $3 billion. And we continue to see cell therapy companies IPOing at record-setting numbers. You can see Sana Biotech, Lyell, and Kirsten just in this year alone have already been able to IPO over $400 million. Chimeric has the most advanced cell therapy pipeline in Australia. We currently have one ongoing phase 1 clinical trial, CHM1101 in glioblastoma, and plans to add 2 additional phase 1 clinical trials in 2022. This will give us development across 7 different types of cancer. And so we're incredibly excited at the opportunity and the promise that this has for patients with cancer as we move forward. CHM1101 is the asset that Chimeric was founded on. It's our Chlorotoxin CAR T, and it was designed and studied preclinically in glioblastoma, which is a type of brain cancer and one of the most lethal cancers out there. Patients with glioblastoma, unfortunately, have an expected survival of only 8 to 12 months once they're diagnosed, and under 40% of those patients actually survive more than 1 year. So there's an incredibly high need for better therapies for these patients. CHM1101 is very unique. It is the only therapy in the world that uses chlorotoxin, a peptide derived from deathstalker scorpion venom, to target the glioblastoma cells in patients. And what we saw in preclinical models was that CHM1101 was better able to find those glioblastoma cells, bind or attach itself to those glioblastoma cells, and then kill those glioblastoma cells better than any other immunotherapy target, including HER2 and IL-13. Chimeric is thrilled that we hold the exclusive license to this asset, and the asset has broad and robust IP through to 2036. CHM1101 is currently in a phase 1 clinical program, and we're advancing towards higher dose levels in this study. The primary objective of the study is really to look at safety and determine what will be the right dose as we move into the phase 2 trial, which we believe will be the trial that will take us through to registration and commercialization. Now, the phase 1 clinical trial has 4 different dose levels, and it uses 2 routes of administration. On the far left, you see dose level 1, which was completed in May. Patients at that dose received a low dose of 44 million cells through 1 route of administration. What patients had was a catheter placed in the tumor cavity in their brain, and it was through that catheter that the CHM1101 cells were actually administered. Highlighted in orange is dose level 2, and currently we are recruiting patients for this dose level. Patients in this dose level receive 88 million cells, so double the number of cells that the first dose level had, and they receive those cells through 2 different routes of administration. Through that intratumoral administration, where the catheter is placed in the patient's brain, but then we've added a second catheter that allows us to administer patients interventricular as well. So really important to be able to address how we are able to get the CHM 1101 cells into the brain to be able to fight the glioblastoma. As we continue to move into dose level 3 and dose level 4, we'll continue to escalate the dose, moving from the 88 million cells that patients are currently receiving to 220 million cells, so more than double again, and then to 440 million cells. The second dose level was started in May 2021, and next month, we anticipate that we'll see initial data from that first dose level. In August, Chimeric was actually really excited to be able to announce that we had received FDA clearance for our IND for CHM 1101. And this was important to us because it allows us to accelerate the clinical development plan for our asset. CHM 1101 is currently in a single site phase 1 clinical trial at City of Hope. With our IND in 2022, we plan to expand that to have 3 different clinical trial sites participating in that trial, which will enable us to move more rapidly. CHM 1101 right now is also being looked at from a preclinical perspective in melanoma, colorectal cancer, and prostate cancer. Our IND will allow us to advance those programs to clinic in a basket trial in 2022, marking the second phase 1 clinical trial for Chimeric. Now, CHM 2101 is our second asset, and we're excited about this asset because it has great promise for gastrointestinal tumors. There was a very competitive licensing process, and we were very excited to be able to be the exclusive license or obtain the exclusive license from the University of Pennsylvania, a world-renowned cell therapy center. The CHM 2101 asset, which is a novel third-generation CDH17 CAR T, showed dramatic preclinical activity. What we saw in neuroendocrine tumors was there was safety with complete tumor eradication and no relapse. So all of the tumor cells were eradicated and they didn't come back. This makes us excited to drive that phase 1 clinical program in 2022 into 4 different tumor types. We'll be looking at CHM 2101 in pancreatic cancer, colorectal cancer, gastric cancer, and neuroendocrine tumors. And just last week, we were able to announce that we completed the critical first milestone step, the release of our plasmids on the path to clinical manufacturing readiness for this asset. Dr. Wah, who invented this CAR T, and his team at the University of Pennsylvania is working now to advance all of the preclinical validation required for those 4 different tumor types that we intend to open the trial in 2022 with. And that trial we're looking to open at the University of Pennsylvania with expansion to additional clinical trial sites in 2022. And it will then give us 3 phase 1 clinical trial programs open in 2022. All of this work is coming from an extremely experienced team of cell therapy development experts. This team, our team, has worked on over 25 different cell therapy programs and has had a hand in 4 out of the 5 approved CAR T therapies currently out there. Our management team is incredibly excited as we recently were able to announce that we've developed a scientific advisory board with world-renowned scientists and clinicians in cell therapy. Dr. Elin from the Mayo Clinic, Dr. Bishop from UChicago, Dr. Smith from the Dana-Farber, and Dr. Maloney from Fred Hutch are truly remarkable scientists and clinicians in cell therapy development, and we're looking forward to having their insight and their feedback on our programs as we continue to develop them. So for the rest of 2021 and moving into 2022, we're very much focused on our pipeline, continuing to develop a next generation pipeline with the most promising science for blood cancers and solid tumors. on ensuring that we're driving our progress through the development of our assets with 3 phase 1 clinical trial programs in 2022. And that we're really doing so with people that enable us to move our progress forward rapidly towards commercialization, both our internal expertise partnering with those important scientific advisors. With that, I want to thank you very much for the time, and I hope that you've had a wonderful meeting. Thank you.